the veteran point guard. He's from Anderson. Got her in free agency. This is a perfect opportunity now for Hailey as young point guard.
The 2025 WNBA draft was meant to be a night of celebration, a spotlight moment where rising stars took their place in the league's future. But instead of a smooth coronation of new talent, the night veered into chaos. Hailey Van Lith, a fiery and confident guard fresh off a strong college run, didn't just show up. She made an entrance and then took a stunning swipe at Caitlin Clark, the reigning face of women's basketball. What followed wasn't just drama, it was a full-blown spectacle that stunned fans, analysts, and players alike. And the wildest part, it wasn't just a bold statement, it was a careering misstep that humbled Van Lith before she ever stepped on a WNBA court. Imagine being at the Shed in Hudson Yards, New York City, buzzing with excitement. The 2025 draft was a big deal. Riding the wave of a record-breaking year for the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever superstar, had transformed the league in her rookie season, drawing massive crowds, spiking TV ratings, and landing lucrative broadcast deals. Her long-range shooting and playmaking had fans comparing her to NBA legends, and her impact was undeniable. The draft, featuring names like Paige Buchers and Van Lith, was poised to build on that momentum. But what happens next will leave you speechless. Van Lith, drafted 11th overall by the Chicago Sky, had a story that resonated with many. She'd fought her way through a nomadic college career, playing at Louisville, LSU, and TCU. Known for her grit and relentless energy, she was a player who thrived on proving doubters wrong. Her reunion with Angel Reese, her former LSU teammate, was a draft highlight, promising a dynamic duo in Chicago. But Van Lith wasn't content to just soak in the moment. She had a score to settle, rooted in a college rivalry with Clark that dated back to 2023. In that NCAA Elite Eight game, Clark torched LSU for 41 points, leaving Van Lith and her teammates in the dust. The image of Clark's "you can't see me" gesture became a viral taunt, and Van Lith hadn't forgotten. And this is where things go completely off the rails. During a pre-draft segment, Van Lith was thrown a playful question: start, bench, or cut 3 WNBA stars, Diana Taurasi, Sabrina Ionescu, and Caitlin Clark. It was meant to be a fun icebreaker, but Van Lith saw an opportunity. With cameras rolling and the crowd hanging on her every word, she chose to start Taurasi, bench Ionescu, and cut Clark. The arena fell silent for a split second before erupting in murmurs. Social media lit up like a wildfire. Fans couldn't believe she'd gone after the league's biggest star so brazenly. But here's what they're not telling you: Van Lith wasn't done yet. In her post-selection interview, Van Lith doubled down. She didn't mention Clark by name, but her words cut deep. She talked about grinding her way to the pros, implying some players had been handed fame on a silver platter. The jab was clear. Clark, the media darling, was her target. It was a bold move, one that screamed confidence but reeked of miscalculation. Van Lith thought she was crafting an underdog narrative, but she just poked the bear, and you'll never guess how it ends. The backlash was immediate and relentless, with fans tearing into Van Lith's comments as bitter and unnecessary. They flooded the internet with stats comparing her college career to Clark's. Van Lith's numbers were solid, nearly 20 points a game at Louisville, 18 at TCU. But Clark's were otherworldly. She'd rewritten the NCAA record books, becoming the all-time leading scorer while leading Iowa to back-to-back national championship games. Her stat lines looked like they belonged in a video game, and her impact went beyond the court, selling out arenas and boosting the WNBA's profile. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the WNBA community piled on. ESPN analysts were floored. One called Van Lith's comments envy dressed up as confidence. Another pointed out the irony. Clark's rise had made the 2025 draft the second most watched in WNBA history. With 1.25 million viewers tuning in, by shading the player who'd put the league on the map, Van Lith wasn't just starting a rivalry, she was alienating the very fans and players she'd need to succeed. Even current WNBA stars took notice, with some quietly unfollowing Van Lith on social media. The message was clear: you don't come for the queen unless you're ready to back it up. But what happens next is truly insane. The real gut punch came from Clark herself, though not in the way you'd expect. While Van Lith's words were dissected online, Clark stayed silent. No tweets, no interviews, no petty clapbacks. Instead, she let a single moment speak for her. A cold, knowing smile caught on camera as Van Lith threw her shade. It was the same look Clark had worn in college when opponents tried to get under her skin, right before she buried them with a deep three. Days later, she was spotted at a youth basketball camp, coaching kids and signing jerseys for hours. The contrast was stark. Van Lith was chasing clout while Clark was building a legacy. And here's where everything changes. Just weeks after the draft, Clark made headlines by stepping onto the court during a Pacers game to toss out merch, stealing the spotlight in the process. No other rookie had ever drawn this much attention. In a preseason matchup, she reminded everyone why she's the league's biggest attraction, dropping 28 points, handing out 8 assists, and pulling down 5 rebounds. She hit deep threes and ran the offense like a veteran. Meanwhile, the cameras caught Van Lith still in warm-ups, waiting for her moment. Social media erupted, flooding timelines with memes of Clark cooking while Van Lith looked on from the bench. The numbers told the story. Clark's rookie season was historic, with records for most points by a rookie guard, most assists by a rookie, and the first ever rookie triple-doubles in WNBA history. She was named Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month, a first in league history. Van Lith, meanwhile, had yet to log a single professional minute. Stick around because this next part is huge. The WNBA community didn't hold back. An anonymous player reportedly said, "You earn your place with buckets, not by running your mouth on draft night." A veteran praised Clark for bringing more money and exposure to the league, urging Van Lith to show some respect. League executives knew Clark's value better than anyone. Ticket sales had skyrocketed over 300% since her draft declaration, and her merchandise accounted for nearly half of all league sales. New broadcast deals with ESPN and Amazon, quadrupling primetime exposure, were tied directly to her star power. Clark wasn't just a player, she was a one-woman economic engine. And if you think that's bad, just wait, because Van Lith's troubles were just beginning. Behind the scenes, the fallout was brutal. Reports emerged that multiple teams had passed on drafting Van Lith, wary of her attitude and potential to disrupt locker room chemistry. One scout, speaking anonymously, said she was talented but no Caitlyn, and teams didn't want drama over production. The Chicago Sky took a chance on her, banking on her connection with Reese to smooth things over. But even that came with pressure. Reese had navigated her own rivalry with Clark, learning to share the spotlight. Van Lith, it seemed, was still chasing it. And the final twist? It's something no one expected. The WNBA season opener pits the Sky against Clark's Fever, and it's already the most anticipated game of the year. For Van Lith, it's a chance to prove her words weren't empty. But the pressure is crushing. Every missed shot, every turnover, every moment she's on the court will be compared to Clark's performance. Fans are already hyping Clark to drop another 40, with memes predicting a humbling for Van Lith. Her draft night comments didn't just start a feud, they set an impossible standard for a rookie yet to prove herself. And by the end of this, you'll understand why this is so important. Clark, meanwhile, remains unfazed. She's not here for the drama or the headlines. She's in the gym, as shown by her going 50 for 54 from 3 on her birthday. Her focus is on championships, not sound bites. Her rookie season set records, fastest to 100 three-pointers, most assists in an all-star game, and countless franchise milestones. She's not just a star, she's the league's future. With teams reshaping marketing plans and cities bracing for sold-out games when she's in town, Van Lith's jab may have earned her a few retweets, but Clark is earning respect. One jumper, one pass, one packed arena at a time. For Van Lith, the road ahead is steep. She didn't just pick a fight, she picked the wrong one. The WNBA isn't college, where rivalries can thrive on trash talk alone. This is a league finally gaining traction thanks to Clark's hard work and humility. By trying to tear her down, Van Lith misread the room and painted herself as the antagonist, before earning the right to be a rival. Every game she plays will be a referendum on her draft night words, with fans and analysts ready to pounce on every misstep. You'll want to see this through to the end. Trust me. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to respond with words. Her game speaks louder than any interview could. Lith, on the other hand, has a lot to prove. When the Sky and Fever face off in May, the scoreboard will tell the real story. And that's where everything clicked into place. Because in the WNBA, talk is cheap, and Clark is already cashing checks with every bucket. Is the Lith Angel Reese matchup a threat to Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever? Let us know what you think in the comments section below.
Do you have any regrets on how it happened and everything that's happened since then?
I don't have any regrets with anything. I'm going to compete and play 100% hard no matter who it is, like I said, or who we're playing. No, I don't have any regrets.
It's official. Kennedy Carter's career is over after one reckless move. She thought she could get away with shoving Caitlin Clark, but the WNBA had other plans. Now, she's fired, her reputation is ruined, and teams won't touch her. So how did one moment destroy her future while Caitlin Clark thrives? Stick around. What happened next will blow your mind. The crowd gathered for a game between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever, excited to see stars like Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. But then, Kennedy Carter shoved Caitlin Clark, leaving the arena in shock. The officials called it a common foul, but it was far from that. In the post-game interview, Carter didn't apologize or take responsibility. Instead, she brushed off the questions with an attitude that made teams rethink their interest in her. Talent matters in the WNBA, but so does attitude. Kennedy Carter's bad attitude toward Caitlin Clark was a huge mistake, and it wasn't the first time. Already on her third team, rumors of locker room drama followed her. The Chicago Sky didn't try to work it out. They showed her the door. No trade, no deal. The GM made it clear. She had an incredible season, but her fit no longer aligns with our vision. And that was just the start. Kennedy Carter's WNBA colleagues made it clear they disliked her. Angel Reese unfollowed her on social media, and other players didn't want her on the roster. Her attitude, not just talent, made her a liability. Now, an unrestricted free agent, she's avoided by teams, labeled a locker room cancer. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is dominating the league, and the drama has only boosted her popularity. She's not just a talented rookie, she's changing the game. Caitlin Clark's rise to fame started in college, where she shattered the NCAA Division career scoring record and won National Player of the Year twice. Known for her deep threes, clutch shots, and no-look assists, she made Iowa must-watch TV. In the WNBA, she kept the momentum going, becoming the biggest name in the league. Every game she played was a sellout, and she delivered on the hype with exceptional performances. Caitlin Clark's rookie season has been nothing short of extraordinary. She's the first rookie in WNBA history to hit over 100 three-pointers and record 300 assists in a season, with shooting efficiency that's off the charts. Already setting the WNBA single-season assist record, she ended her team's playoff drought while playing with the fearless energy that made her a college legend. Corporates and the sports world have taken notice. Clark's impact goes far beyond the stats. Caitlin Clark's impact goes beyond the court, reshaping the WNBA's economic landscape. Ticket sales, TV ratings, and merchandise are booming, with games featuring Clark averaging 15,000 fans. Her debut game drew 2.5 million viewers, surpassing many NBA games, and WNBA ticket sales spiked 93% in 2024. Clark isn't just a player, she's a movement, taking women's basketball to new heights. Caitlin Clark has accelerated the WNBA's growth by years, helping the league hit milestones expected in 2030. With record-breaking performances, multi-million-dollar endorsements, and influence on key decisions like media rights and player salaries, she's proving one player can change the game. Her success is elevating the entire league and paving the way for future generations. Caitlin Clark's story wouldn't be complete without her rivalries. First, there's A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP, facing off with Clark as the future star. Their matchups represent a generational shift, and Caitlin is ready to take over. Then there's Angel Reese, a strong talent who has competed with Clark since college, but Caitlin outperformed her in nearly every stat, with more fanfare surrounding her games. With success comes criticism, and Caitlin Clark faced plenty. Many doubted she could handle the WNBA's physicality and questioned if her college success was due to teammates. But she silenced those critics, dominating the league and torching defenders. Her ability to perform under pressure proves she's not just a good player, but a great one. With Kennedy Carter out, all eyes are on Caitlin Clark. Big corporations are flocking to her thanks to the Caitlin Clark effect, and her success is lifting the entire league. Clark's rise isn't just personal, it's about paving the way for the next generation with bigger sponsorships, better media coverage, and greater respect for women's sports. She's proving women's sports can be as exciting, profitable, and impactful as men's, breaking barriers and forcing the world to pay attention. Caitlin isn't just here to play, she's here to change the game. Kennedy Carter faces an uphill battle ahead. With the WNBA growing, teams want leaders, not troublemakers. So, what's next for her? Can she make a comeback, or is this the end? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Reality's coming. Diana Taurasi told Caitlin Clark before her WNBA debut. But what happened next? The rookie didn't just survive, she flipped the script. Taurasi tried to put her in her place, but Clark responded by breaking records and changing the league. That's not just answering back, it's rewriting history.
Well, I cannot believe we are fixing to have a talk about this particular player in the WNBA because I thought she was supposed to be gone.
Taurasi's tone has shifted, and what she's saying about Clark now? Unbelievable. Remember when Diana said Caitlin wasn't ready for the big leagues? That statement set the basketball world on fire. In a recent interview, Taurasi's words, they've completely changed.
You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie. And, it might take a little bit longer for some people.
Just like that, it was set. A showdown between the old guard and the new wave of women's basketball. Taurasi's words weren't just casual chatter, they sparked a fire. Within hours, social media was divided, with WNBA legend fans facing off against the college phenom supporters. You could feel the battle lines being drawn.
We know what she said. We all remember it. There's going to be a transition period. There's going to be a reality check. Yada, yada, yada. All right. Caitlin Clark ultimately got the last laugh over Taurasi. The 23-year-old still made sure to pay respects to one of the league's most decorated players.
What's wild is how fast people picked sides. Some fans backed Taurasi, citing her decades of experience and championships. She's just speaking facts, they said. But Clark's supporters saw something else. Jealousy? Fear of being replaced? The debate exploded on every sports talk show and Twitter thread.
And we know how Taurasi came back, tried to back off her comments after she got the handed to her by Caitlin Clark on multiple occasions.
Veterans questioning rookies isn't new, but Taurasi's public comments hit differently. They added to a growing wave of doubt about Clark's WNBA transition. Analysts voiced skepticism. She won't get those shots against pros. the physicality will be too much. These narratives piled on, creating huge pressure before Clark even played her first game.
Really, Taurasi said some glowing things about Clark after the game. Why did that matter? Because she made the whole reality is coming comments, and she was also and is also maybe the, biggest figure in the history of the sport, certainly in that conversation, right? And when she said the reality is coming thing, that kind of became the mantra to Clark's rookie season.
But have you seen how Clark responded? Instead of firing back, she took the high road. When asked about Taurasi's comments, Clark simply said, "That's somebody I grew up idolizing. No trash talk, no defensiveness, just pure respect." Can you feel the tension building toward their first matchup?
Because we remember what she said to Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter for ESPN months ago, when she said there's levels to this. It's one thing to go against young girls and stuff like that. You about to go up against grown women. We're going to be waiting for.
Fans circled this game, rookie versus legend. Would Taurasi back up her words, or would Clark prove she belonged? The hype was unreal, but Clark wasn't fazed. She got the best of Taurasi in their first matchup.
Obviously, a lot was made of this matchup between yourself and Diana Taurasi. I know she's one of your idols. How big is it for you to get a win here against her today?
I'm just happy we won. It was cool to play against her, and obviously a really great game. And like you said, this crowd was absolutely incredible.
Did Taurasi underestimate Clark's ability to adapt? It's hard to say otherwise. While Taurasi warned her about reality, Clark was quietly preparing to exceed expectations. Her response? Letting her game do the talking.
Diana Taurasi famously said reality is coming for Caitlin Clark when she gets to the WNBA. But the reality is Taurasi also has a ton of respect for Clark, as she expressed following the Fever's win over the Phoenix Mercury in the first ever career head-to-head matchup.
That quiet preparation was no show. It was the calm before a storm. While others debated if Clark could handle the WNBA's physicality, she was planning something unprecedented. Not just competing with legends like Taurasi, but surpassing them and forcing the entire basketball world to rethink rookie potential.
The best point guard in the WNBA, objectively, Caitlin Clark. In her one professional season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark came away with an average of 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds for the season.
From the moment Clark hit the court for the Indiana Fever, she didn't play like a rookie. She played like she owned it. Game after game, her stats had analysts double-checking their numbers. 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds. She didn't just lead rookies. She led the whole league in assists and three-pointers. This wasn't adapting to the pros. This was redefining rookie potential. All of this happened under a microscope. Every move, every shot picked apart in real time on social media. The pressure would have crushed most, but Clark thrived on it. She used those doubts as fuel, especially when facing the team of her biggest critic.
By the way, Caitlin Clark has made some remarks about Diana Taurasi, and it seems the one player she had the most fun taking to the woodshed, and who could blame her after the there's going to be a reality check. Yeah, you're right. You got swept by the rookie, destroyed, obliterated. Caitlin Clark made some comments, and she has come out and said, basically, crushing Diana Taurasi was her favorite part of last year.
When Clark faced the Phoenix Mercury, she didn't just compete, she dominated. In one game, she dropped 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds, leading her team to victory. And it wasn't a fluke. The Fever swept the Mercury in their regular season matchups. The rookie, who was supposed to struggle against veterans, was now beating them consistently.
She got a dose of her own medicine real fast, did she not? talked all that trash, all of that trash. That didn't work out very well for you at all.
Clark wasn't done making statements. In a poetic twist, she broke Taurasi's three-point record, hitting her 122nd to pass the legend who doubted her. If there was ever a I belong here moment, that was it.
And of course, no one has more gravitas in the space than Taurasi. But when Taurasi sort of, deaded all that and embraced Clark, it felt like the moment a lot of the tensions would break down. Of course, that wasn't completely the case, as we've seen. But in that moment, it did feel like, all right, you've made it. You've earned it, right? Like, you've shown it. There's no fronting on your game.
What's most impressive? Clark didn't just shine individually. She transformed the Indiana Fever. A team that had been irrelevant for years made their first playoff appearance since 2016, all with Clark leading the way. She didn't just join a team, she revitalized it, bringing fans back like never before.
A lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
Clark's impact went beyond her team. For the first time, the WNBA outdrew the NHL in average live viewers during the regular season. The league Taurasi helped build for years was now booming, thanks to the rookie she had once doubted.
And it's very interesting that all of a sudden a player that was supposed to, Diana Taurasi is supposed to retire, right? The old dinosaur is supposed to retire. Well, now you have outlets talking about landing spots for Diana Taurasi. Wait, come again?
The moment everything changed? When Taurasi put her arm around Clark. That wasn't just a gesture. It marked the start of a surprising shift. After weeks of domination, Taurasi's dismissive attitude gave way to respect.
Caitlin Clark being embraced by Diana Taurasi after the Fever beat the Mercury in that game and they played each other was one of the coolest moments of the WNBA season.
You could almost see Taurasi's internal struggle. After 2 decades of dominance, she watched a rookie take the league to new heights. How do you process that? The answer came in a moment no one saw coming.
It's kind of like when you go from kindergarten to first grade, there's a learning adjustment. When you go from high school to college, there's a learning adjustment. I don't think I said anything that wasn't factually correct. And like anything, greatness is going to translate. And she's proven that in every level. And I don't see it being any different in the WNBA.
What Caitlin has done in her short career is nothing short of remarkable. Those words, from Diana Taurasi herself, the same player who'd warned Clark about the harsh reality of the pros. Talk about a 180. The basketball world did a double take. Was this the same Taurasi who'd been dismissive months ago? This wasn't just acknowledgement. It was a full endorsement that shook the league.
Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits.
Career you choose, you should probably look at what the career earnings are of going into that field. What I'll also say is this, every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
If we don't get paid what we deserve, we'll sit out. That's the bold, and let's be honest, somewhat unrealistic, statement Angel Reese made that sparked a wildfire on social media. But it wasn't the reaction she was probably expecting. The backlash was swift, and none were more cutting than Patrick Bet-David. He didn't just respond, he tore apart her argument with sharp precision and a heap of financial facts. Believe me, once you understand the full scope of this situation, you'll see Angel's outburst in a whole new light.
The ones coming this year will still be on the rookie contract again. The ones the year after, they're gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us. No, they are.
Who's that?
I'm hurt. They are. Yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are. I need to get in the. I need to get in the field. You need to come to the meetings. I gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want,
Here's the situation. Reese, the self-proclaimed Bayou Barbie turned pro basketball player, is now demanding that WNBA players sit out if they don't get paid more. Keep in mind, this is a player who's still working on finishing layups without hitting the bottom of the backboard, and already she's threatening to shut down the league. Patrick's reaction was a mix of disbelief and laughter, and honestly, who can blame him?
You know what I love watching? I love watching her highlights of missing shots. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life. But go, Rob, just go, give this feedback. Give this feedback here. Go for it.
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period.
Layups? Bang! What do you mean? She's our double-double queen! Bang! What they say, if it's broke, don't fix it. Bang! Teaching Angel Reese to make a layup is like teaching an old dog a new trick. It ain't gonna work. Bang!
Let's dive deeper into what Angel actually said.
Want to get paid. Possibility. Reese has been vocal about her low WNBA salary, revealing her $74,000 a year salary doesn't cover rent, stating on Instagram Live, I just hope you know that the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think they pay one of my bills. Reese's financial struggles stem from WNBA salary not matching her past earnings, as her NIL valuation at LSU was $1.8 million, bolstered by deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and Coach, while a 4-year rookie deal was $324,000 with $74,000 due next season.
I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. Let me do the math real quick.
He might cover that. Yeah,
It
definitely covers that.
What is I don't even know my salary.
She disclosed that she's making around $74,000 in her rookie WNBA season, and claims it doesn't even cover rent in Chicago. Now, for most of us, $74,000 seems like a pretty good deal. But for Angel, she's acting like she's barely scraping by. The irony? This is the same person who made nearly $1.8 million at LSU, thanks to endorsement deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and a bunch of other brands that apparently believed retweeting shade was a basketball talent.
Not basketball sustained her, especially since the WNBA's $200 million revenue last season only allocated 9.3% to salaries, unlike the NBA's 50% share of the $5.3 billion in 2023. Adam, thoughts?
No, my rent is more than that. It's $8,000. I'm living beyond my means.
Angel signed to a 4-year rookie deal worth around $324,000, which breaks down to roughly $81,000 per year. That's less than 5% of what she earned as a college influencer. No wonder she famously said, "Hating pays the bills." Because, let's face it, her Instagram stories are probably more profitable than her performance on the court. At the rate she's missing shots, the WNBA might need to charge her for backboard repairs. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here shaping the future of women's basketball, while Angel's busy building a brand off questionable opinions and top-tier bricklaying skills.
Hey, this is the greatest Angel Reese layup you'll ever see. Here we go with the dump off, ba-da-dum-bum-bum. I'm loving it. Burn! Oh, she getting jiggy with it. Look at that, crisscross, zigging-zagging through the lane. Giddy up, yeehaw! Burn! Now I heard she's ambidextrous. That makes sense, cause she's equally doggy doo-doo with the right and left-handed layup. Bang! Professional basketball player needing to work on her layups is like a fish needing to learn how to breathe underwater. It doesn't make sense. Reese's Puffs! Bang!
Patrick was completely taken aback, not because Angel is struggling financially, because let's be real, with all her endorsements, she probably isn't. But because of the sheer audacity to demand more money from a league that, wait for it, isn't even profitable. He made the obvious point that in the real world, when a business loses money year after year, it doesn't give out raises. It hands out pink slips. That's when Adam Snick stepped in with the facts, and things really started to get interesting.
WNBA and what's her name? Angel Reese. Do it. I fully support your right to strike. So other sports have done it. So other major sports have done it. Here's a quick list for you, PBD. I put this together. Biggest sports strikes in history. 1994, the MLB strike. It was the first time that the World Series was canceled.
I remember.
You remember that? In 1998, the NBA went on strike. They canceled the All-Star game for the first time.
No one
the
knows.
NFL has gone on strike multiple times. 1982, 1987, 2011.
Adam pointed out that while the MLB, NBA, NHL, and NFL have all experienced player strikes, there's one major difference. Those leagues were making billions when their players walked out. Angel Reese seems to think the WNBA is Apple, but in reality, it's more like your cousin's food truck, barely breaking even and still handing out free samples.
Here's the catch when you're going to go on strike. In 1994, MLB, NBA, NFL, what's the number one revenue sport in America? What do you think it is? The NFL. How much do you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. The MLB, also $11 billion. The NHL, $7 billion.
Patrick didn't hold back. The WNBA is losing about $50 million every year, and that's not a sustainable business model. That's a ticking time bomb. The NFL rakes in $17 billion, while the NBA and MLB each bring in $11 billion. The WNBA? They're barely scraping $150 million and still can't keep their finances in the black. It's like trying to run a luxury spa with 2 customers and a lemonade stand budget.
You guys are a alleged $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized.
This isn't a new problem. The WNBA has been operating at a loss since it started in 1997. Over 25 years of red ink and financial mismanagement. You'd think the excitement around Caitlin Clark would finally push them into profitability, but even with record ratings and packed arenas, the losses keep growing. It's a league that should have folded long ago, but somehow drags on, all thanks to its wealthier big brother, the NBA.
A question for you, Vinny. Real quick, rapid fire.
Go.
WNBA stats. Here we go. You're a sports guy. How many teams are in the WNBA?
9?
No, 13. How many games do they play?
80?
40.
Damn it.
Who won the championship this year and who played in the finals?
The Florida Magics.
Nope, the New York Liberty beat the Minnesota Lynx.
Who?
Who exactly?
Part of the issue lies in scale. The WNBA only has 12 teams, each playing 40 games a season. Expansion is set to begin in 2025 with the addition of the Golden State Valkyries, but that's still a far cry from the NBA's 30 teams and 82-game schedule. Fewer teams mean fewer games, which leads to less ticket revenue and smaller TV contracts. It's simple math. Unless, of course, you're Angel Reese or Carrington.
The MVP. She was unanimous. She got all the votes.
Dylan Mulvaney.
Yes.
Yes.
Aja Wilson.
Oh.
You just failed the test,
I'm
buddy.
sorry.
WNBA is coming for you.
As for revenue sharing, NBA players get 50% of the league's earnings, while WNBA players get 99.3%. Sounds unfair, right? But when you realize that even with that larger share, the league is still losing money, it starts to make sense. There just isn't enough revenue to go around. And don't even get me started on the attendance gap between Caitlin Clark's Fever games and, well, everyone else's, including Angel's. Spoiler alert, the seats tend to be a lot emptier where she plays.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.
Here's the truth. No one's saying WNBA players don't deserve respect or recognition, but demanding more money from a league that's barely staying afloat? That's not bold, it's delusional. And when it's coming from someone like Angel Reese, who's been in the league for what feels like 5 minutes, acting like she's already got the power to call the shots, it's even more baffling. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there doing what she does best, dropping dimes, shattering records, and building a legacy. And guess what? She doesn't need tantrums or threats of walkouts. She lets her game speak for itself. On the other hand, Angel Reese is still trying to figure out how to make a layup without becoming a meme. So next time Angel talks about sitting out, maybe someone should remind her that fans are already sitting out when it comes to watching her games.
Nafisi Collier absolutely hooked Angel Reese's ass last night. 8 of 13, 61.5%, 26 points in 25 minutes and 53 seconds. She scored 26 in 26 minutes.
What happens when a player focused on individual stats goes up against a team that's all about winning? On May 10th, we got a clear answer as Nafisa Collier and the Minnesota Lynx methodically broke down Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky's game plan, limiting Reese to just 3 rebounds and 10 points over 25 minutes of action.
Angel Reese, preseason, part 2, let's get it! What they say about layups, harder than nuclear physics. Bang! She's a point forward now, and nobody's more excited than opposing defenses. Time for the vintage underhand scoopity shot from 3 feet. Yep, there it is. Bang!
This wasn't just another preseason game. It was a glimpse of what happens when the focus moves from social media hype to real on-court performance. Did the Lynx just expose Reese's double-double streak as smoke and mirrors? What does her new coach really think about her place on the team? Stay with us as we break down the game footage, how Collier dominated Reese, the surprising aftermath, and whether fans are tuning in for the basketball or just for Reese.
I think Angel Reese fans are going to be happy because she's playing away from the rim, a long way away from the rim, and those rebound numbers and those double-doubles are about to take a back seat. So guess what? Padding the stats is not going to work out.
Before the May 10th matchup, Angel Reese seemed confident, sharing posts about being ready to dominate and claiming she's not used to losing. But when it came time to face Nafisa Collier and the Minnesota Lynx, reality came crashing down. The so-called rebounding machine finished with just 3 rebounds in 25 minutes. That's right. Only 3 boards from a player whose entire reputation is built on cleaning up her own misses.
I don't want to give away the farm, but Angel was 2 of 8 from the field. 2 of 8 from the field. 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 10 points.
The game footage makes it clear how thoroughly Collier shut down Reese's game. From the opening tip, Collier took control, using her body to establish position and box Reese out effectively. Unlike in college, where Reese could often rely on reaching over defenders, she now faced an opponent who mastered positioning and timing. In one second quarter sequence, Reese made 3 separate attempts to gain deep post position, and each time, Collier denied the entry pass, pushing her farther from the hoop. When Reese finally did get the ball, Collier's sharp defensive footwork forced her into an off-balance shot that missed badly. No rebound, no second chance points.
The McDonald's sponsoring the first ever fry cook in the WNBA. Bag work is off the dollar menu, man. What is this junk? Bang! Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and most importantly, Mother Teresa, Mother Nature, and Mother 2. I'm watching because of me too. Bang! Did you know a croissant's most important ingredient is butter? Yes, butter. Butter. Butter pecan.
Reese's shooting numbers told the same story. She went just 2 for 8 from the field, missing her only 3-point attempt. Most of her points came at the free throw line, where she made 6 of 8. Without her trademark putbacks and second chance buckets, Reese's offensive impact looked surprisingly average.
Look at these stats. This was some first quarter action. 5 points, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 for 4 from the field. Missed drive layup, missed 6 foot, leading taking 2. Missed drive, lead taking layup. It's going to be another one of those years, folks.
Credit also goes to the Lynx's team defense. Whenever Reese managed to touch the ball, help defenders quickly collapsed, pressuring her into tough shots or rushed passes. The second quarter was especially rough for the Sky. They shot just 25% from the field, making only 4 baskets. Meanwhile, the Lynx capitalized on both ends, putting up 23 points and heading into halftime with a 48-42 lead.
Collier, I mean, my God, 26-5. Absolutely crazy. Okay, the lack of practice or fatigue from her social life is showing itself with Angel Reese. She's doing a lot of watching and slow on defense. Also not communicating. She literally stood there and watched Fee backdoor to the rim for a layup from a pass.
Reese's first half painted a clear picture. She took just 3 shots and missed all of them, with her only points coming from free throws. This wasn't just a cold night. It was a complete shutdown by a smarter, more experienced defensive opponent and team. While Reese struggled to find her footing, Collier was dominant on both ends. She racked up 26 points on an efficient 8 of 13 shooting in just under 26 minutes. With 5 rebounds, a steal, and a block added to her stat line, there was no doubt who the superior player was. Collier looked every bit the MVP candidate, while Reese seemed like a rookie still adjusting to the pro level.
Caitlin Clark has 0 free throw attempts. Did the refs swallow the whistle? Well, Angel's got 30. Who has the special whistle again? Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. I remember Angel Reese talking about they must have a special whistle out there. Yeah, this person says, my brain genuinely hurts watching Angel Reese fans interact.
One fan on social media claimed the Lynx had cracked the code on stopping Angel Reese, and the evidence backs it up. By neutralizing her rebounding edge, Collier highlighted the gaps in Reese's overall skill set. Without second-chance points and putbacks, Reese's offensive presence faded almost completely.
If I'm being honest, is Angel headed towards a 12-point, 6-rebound, 4-assist kind of season? In other words, being a character actor and not the superstar of this team?
To Reese's credit, she did flash some playmaking ability with 5 assists, indicating an effort to broaden her game beyond the typical power forward role. However, when your main strengths are shut down this decisively, it raises legitimate concerns about your overall effectiveness at the pro level.
And look, Angel had a real nice assist last night.
For efficiency.
I'm not gonna lie.
Off
here
the
we
miss.
go right here down the court. Looks like maybe
pushes the
Nurse
pace
with
up
the ball
for Chicago.
down to Reese.
Top of the
Look at
key,
this
it's Reese. Bounce pass,
right in there for a
Banham.
layup.
Rachel Banham with the cut off the nice pass from
Rachel
Reese.
that was nice. It was nice, no doubt.
This wasn't just a rough outing, it was a blueprint for stopping Angel Reese. Collier showed that smart positioning, high basketball IQ, and disciplined team defense are enough to erase Reese's physical edge. And now that her on-court dominance is being questioned, it's fair to take a closer look at some of her bold off-court claims as well. She says people watch women's basketball because of her. But if that's the case, where are the fans at her games?
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
That's what Angel Reese declared to reporters after being drafted by the Chicago Sky. Words that didn't just echo through the press room, but reverberated across the basketball world. Confident, unapologetic, bold. For a rookie, calling yourself the reason people tune in to watch women's basketball isn't just a statement, it's a challenge to the status quo. But here's the real question. Is it just talk, or is there truth behind the claim? Are fans really showing up because of Angel Reese? Do the viewership stats and social buzz prove she's not just a player, but a movement?
It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
It's been awesome, and just the reaction. Obviously, people so excited not only about women's basketball, but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving, not only myself, but just women's sports as a whole.
Caitlin Clark just became the first WNBA player to claim Time's Athlete of the Year, but not everyone is joining the celebration. It's become increasingly clear she has her share of haters, from Cheryl Swoops, Aja Wilson, to Nalissa Smith, Diana Taurasi, and sadly, the list doesn't end there.
Cheryl, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to Caitlin Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
In a twist that's both startling and yet oddly predictable, Cheryl Swoops, 4-time WNBA champion and now Clark's most outspoken critic, had plenty to say about the athlete's recent win. In today's segment, we'll break down the controversy, examine the backlash, and uncover the unexpected way Clark is handling it all. While Clark had the perfect moment to fire back, she chose a different route, leaving everyone utterly speechless. Here's why her response is a masterclass in grace and leadership.
And I've grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor.
Imagine this, Caitlin Clark riding high after earning Time Athlete of the Year, yet not everyone's raising a glass. Enter Cheryl Swoops, former WNBA superstar turned unforeseen critic, stirring up drama on the Gills Arena podcast.
The fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
Rather than praising Clark, Swoops launches into a full-on tirade, openly challenging the very standards used to grant Clark her title. "I'm trying to understand what the criteria is," she says, her voice laced with disbelief. And she doesn't stop there. Swoops rattles off a list of other contenders she believes should have earned the honor instead. The whole thing feels like a slow-motion train wreck, leaving fans and analysts alike puzzled and asking what's really at play.
This is just probably just the impact of the sport, a little bit of it's a little bit of everything, right? So,
yeah, I mean,
when you think about, athletes of this year,
yeah,
it's her, the swimmer.
What swimmer?
For Olympics.
Katie Ledecky.
Her performance.
Shit, you
know,
can put
in the
Simone
Olympics.
Biles back in there.
You can put her back in there. Probably LeBron from his Olympics.
As we delve further into Swoops' remarks, a pattern starts to form. This isn't her first time taking aim at Clark. When Clark shattered the NCAA scoring record, Swoops was quick to downplay it, questioning whether the accomplishment was all that remarkable given how much the game has evolved since the original milestone was set.
Put Asia Wilson in there.
That was just basketball.
So that's what I'm saying. Was it just the performance on the court, or
It's global.
else?
It's like, I think it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
What about Wilson? She demands, leaving everyone listening in stunned silence. Is this just a careless slip, or is there something more simmering beneath the surface? Swoops' outburst lays bare a deeper struggle. It's not only about Clark now, it's the old guard facing off against the new era, tradition clashing with the future of women's basketball. Once the sport's leading figure, Swoops now watches from the sidelines as Clark captivates a whole new generation of fans.
It just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And, sometimes, just as athletes, we are competitive by nature. And, we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't think they deserve.
The basketball world is left stunned. Swoops, once a beacon of inspiration for countless young athletes, including a young Caitlin Clark, now appears bitter and disconnected. Her remarks ignite intense debates online, with fans and players alike taking sides. Yet here's the ironic twist. While Swoops questions Clark's merit, Clark's star power only intensifies. Her record-breaking performances and swelling fan base speak volumes. The contrast is glaring. one athlete clinging to the past, the other blazing a trail into the future of women's basketball.
Well, it's been a crazy year. It's hard to think about. Like, I was basically just starting my senior year of college at this time last year. And then I graduated. I missed my college graduation, got drafted here in New York City, basically moved right to Indianapolis, and basically start like a whole new chapter of your life instantly, and you don't really have much time to adjust. But lucky enough, I had a really great support system and family around, and I'm from the Midwest, so didn't take me too long, but this past year has just been amazing.
How does Clark tackle this sudden wave of criticism? Does she lash out, stoking the flames? Or does she remain poised under pressure? Her approach to this conflict won't just shape her legacy, it could help reshape the entire landscape of women's basketball. Buckle up, because Clark is about to reveal the depths of her character.
It's fun to reflect back and think about all the amazing things that I was able to accomplish and the people that I got to do it with. I think that's what's made it so special is I've had my family with me the whole time, my friends, amazing teammates, amazing coaches, and it wouldn't be possible without all of them, so just really fortunate.
Remember when we said Clark was about to show us what she's made of? Well, her response to the Time Award controversy isn't just surprising, it's genuinely groundbreaking. She's redefining what leadership looks like in women's basketball. While swoops cast doubt, Clark continues to smash records and win over fans' hearts. How does she handle the criticism? Does she shoot back? Not at all. Clark takes the high road, and that choice has everyone talking.
The number of Indiana Fever fans I saw and young girls and the way they were lighting up, I mean, you have represented something so special for the sport, but you've drawn eyes to a game that you've always grown up loving. What does that mean to you?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm so focused and so competitive, and I love the game. I love playing. I love being in front of the fans. But over the course of probably the last 2.5 years, it's all kind of changed where, you know, it's hard to get a ticket whether we're at home or whether we're on the road.
In her Time interview, Clark doesn't merely shrug off the controversy. She faces it head on with a level of maturity that's capturing everyone's attention. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom has been accompanied by a refreshing sense of self-awareness.
A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
But Clark doesn't stop there. She makes a point of recognizing the legends who laid the groundwork for her success. And guess who she gives credit to? Cheryl Swoops herself. It's a move that proves Clark isn't just an elite talent on the court. She's a class act off it as well.
Thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
So what's the
Clark's reply? It's more than simply rising above the fray. It's a masterclass in handling criticism with grace, transforming a potentially negative moment into something uplifting. She's not just standing up for her own achievements, she's raising the bar for the entire dialogue surrounding women's basketball.
I remember my first WNBA game, one of the best memories of my childhood, and I think very influential in wanting to be a professional basketball player, wanting to be a great person, having those people to look up to and want to be like one day. So I just try to embody that every single day, and I feel like I have good perspective on, like, basketball isn't my everything. Like, yeah, I love it, and I get to do it, and it's given me a lot of really great opportunities, but at the same time, you know, win or loss, I feel like I try to be the same person.
The contrast between Clark's approach and Swoops' remarks couldn't be more stark. While Swoops questions and criticizes, Clark chooses to celebrate and uplift. This strategy isn't just winning her new fans, it's quieting her critics in the most impactful way possible. Don't mistake Clark's kindness for weakness, though. Her words carry real weight, and her actions speak volumes. She's showing that you don't have to tear others down to elevate yourself. In fact, by paying tribute to those who came before her, Clark is securing her own legacy in basketball history.
Know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career.
As the controversy fades, one truth stands out. Clark's handling of the situation has transformed what could have been a divisive episode into a moment of unity for women's basketball. She's demonstrated that it's possible to be both a fierce competitor on the court and a gracious leader off it. But the story doesn't end here. Clark's poised response has paved the way for a much broader conversation. How will the rest of the basketball community react to this display of sportsmanship and class? Stay tuned, because the reactions are about to roll in, and they may just surprise you.
But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years, so I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important, and that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, you know, share my truth, and I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin, and that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Clark's triumph and Swoop's critique didn't just grab headlines. They sparked a wildfire of debate across the basketball landscape. Opinions are swirling at lightning speed, faster than one of Clark's signature three-pointers, and everyone wants their say. Let's break down the reactions. On Clark's side, a whole army of supporters has turned up. Fans are flooding social media with admiration for the rising star, applauding her poise under pressure and calling out Swoops for what they view as a bitter backlash. As one fan tweeted, Clark's response shows she's already a legend in the making. Swoops could learn a thing or two about sportsmanship.
And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I mean, I think I have good perspective on that. And like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day, and I know have my best interests at heart too.
How will all this drama shape Clark's future in the WNBA? That's the million-dollar question. Some believe the controversy might heap extra pressure on her next season. Others argue it's only adding fuel to her competitive fire, potentially setting the stage for a dominant sophomore year and maybe even an MVP run. But here's what nobody can dispute. Clark's influence is undeniable. WNBA ticket sales are soaring, and television ratings for women's college basketball have never been higher. Even viewers who've never followed the women's game are tuning in just to watch Clark play. The numbers don't lie. Clark isn't merely a player, she's a phenomenon, and she's redefining the landscape of the sport.
I'm just scratching the surface of the things I want to accomplish, and you know, I'm 22, I'm still figuring out life, I'm still figuring out where everything's gonna go, and you know, I love basketball, and basketball has brought me so many amazing things, and that will continue to be probably my first passion and everything that I enjoy. And hopefully once basketball ends, I can still find things that I'm really passionate about and can do. Hopefully be an owner of a sports team one day, or open a restaurant, I don't know, something fun, a little less stressful maybe, maybe a coffee shop or something, I don't know.
Clark's impact isn't just about one award or one controversy, it's about the future of the game. While some question the criteria behind her Time Athlete of the Year win, Clark's response, acknowledging the greats who came before her, even Cheryl Swoops, has been a masterclass in grace and leadership. Instead of firing back, she's elevating the conversation. Her style of play, highlighted by long-range shooting and raw emotion, is inspiring young athletes to pick up a basketball and believe in their own potential. Fans are tuning in like never before, and ticket sales and TV ratings reflect her growing influence. Clark's authenticity off the court Making time for fans and remembering what it's like to be the kid in the crowd resonates on a personal level. This isn't just about Clark and swoops, it's about the entire trajectory of women's basketball. The sport stands at a crossroads, balancing respect for its legends with the rise of new stars who are redefining what's possible. Clark's story is bringing more attention, more debate, and more excitement to the WNBA. She's not merely breaking records, she's reshaping perceptions, inspiring a new generation, and turning the spotlight onto women's basketball like never before. As we watch Clark's journey unfold, it's clear the game is evolving before our eyes. Her rise signals a new era, one in which women's sports command center stage and future players dream even bigger. The sport will never be the same, and that's exactly the point. Did you catch the latest? Ben Shapiro just took down Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson over her ridiculous comments about Caitlin Clark.
So one of the bizarre controversies of the last week is Caitlin Clark, who is the WNBA's only nameable star. Here, for example, is WNBA team owner Sheila Johnson. Here she is, ripping Caitlin Clark and the fan base for liking Caitlin Clark, saying it's only because Caitlin Clark is white.
In what might as well be an Olympic gold medal for bad takes, Sheila's claiming that Clark didn't deserve Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year title, basically suggesting that everyone in the WNBA should be recognized, except for Caitlin Clark.
Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing.
You heard that right. This is the ultimate everybody gets a trophy mentality, but cranked up to the max. Shapiro wasted no time shredding Johnson's argument, using his signature rapid-fire style to highlight just how ridiculous her position really is.
You're not putting the entire WNBA on the cover because not everybody can fit and nobody knows who any of those people are. By the way, 31% apparently of the entire Washington Mystics ticket sales this year came in 2 games. I will give you a guess as to which player was featured in those 2 games.
Exactly. Not everyone can fit inside the spotlight, and definitely not the entire WNBA. As for this talk of upliftment, let's not forget that 31% of the Washington Mystics' annual revenue has come from games featuring Caitlin Clark and her team. Are we seriously supposed to pretend Caitlin Clark isn't single-handedly bringing fresh energy to a league that's been struggling to stay relevant?
Look, I'm going to be completely honest about this. I thought what Wizards owner Sheila Johnson said about Caitlin Clark came off as racist. Sheila Johnson is the black billionaire owner of the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, and the WNBA's Washington Mystics. Johnson said she did not agree with Time Magazine making Caitlin Clark the first ever WNBA player to be Athlete of the Year.
Sheila's claim that Caitlin Clark's success somehow undermines the rest of the league definitely carries a whiff of something darker. It's hard to ignore how that perspective reeks of racism, whether she intended it or not.
And with putting Caitlin Clark on the cover. Johnson said the entire WNBA should have been chosen as the League of the Year and that numerous stars should have been put on the cover. She said the WNBA has a long legacy of black stars and that, and I quote, something clicked with the WNBA last year because of the draft. It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Reese, as in, of course, Chicago's Angel Reese.
Seriously? Angel Reese doesn't even come close to Caitlin Clark, both in skill and popularity. So why is Sheila so eager to downplay Clark's accomplishments? It's almost like she's trying to diminish something that clearly stands out on its own.
Johnson said, and I quote, "There's so much talent out there that's unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player. When you single out one, it creates hard feelings," end of quote. Johnson said what's been happening to black players on social media, and I quote, has got to stop, in that, and I quote again, this division of racism is going to tear us apart, end quote.
Exactly. Are we seriously going to stop celebrating a player just because others are feeling threatened or jealous? That doesn't sit right, does it? This is straight up unfair treatment. Sheila should be recognizing greatness, not trying to undermine it.
Johnson is saying to me, the majority of WNBA players are black and have always been black, that basketball belongs more to black players than to white, and that it's not healthy for the league to have a white player featured as Athlete of the Year on the cover of Time. Now, I'm pretty sure if WNBA MVP Asia Wilson had made the cover of Time as Athlete of the Year, Johnson wouldn't have had any problem with that. Just not the white girl.
Absolutely. What Sheila's implying is that we should start picking and choosing who gets praise based on the color of their skin, rather than their talent or achievements. It's absurd on so many levels, and frankly, it's a huge disservice to the game and the players who deserve recognition.
But this person put this on as a quote to this video. Sheila Johnson's worth $850 million, and she doesn't put a penny back into the neighborhood she comes from. Very interesting. She doesn't even come back to her high school to show little black girls that they can become her. My little cousins go to the same high school. They don't even know she exists. Very interesting indeed.
Did you catch that? It turns out Sheila might be guilty of the very thing she's accusing Caitlin Clark of. That's right. She supposedly doesn't do charity or encourage the black kids in her community to become billionaires like herself. Talk about hypocrisy at its finest, folks.
Well, the league has always been woke, has always had an agenda. The league and the sports media, the establishment sports media that is, and their surrogates. Always. And they pride themselves on that.
It's become pretty clear that the WNBA has a lot of politics playing out behind the scenes. Could this be what's been holding the league back all these years? It's hard not to wonder if these power struggles and biases are part of the reason the league hasn't reached the level of recognition and success it deserves.
But since Caitlin Clark stepped into the waters with the Time magazine interview, it's almost like you're gonna see more people, more comments, more demands. You're going to see it's going to be less and less about basketball, what you want to see, and it's going to be a whole lot of this stuff, because it's like she ripped off another layer of the onion, and this one is a big one. And so now people feel like they can just go all in.
Exactly. Sheila's opposition to Caitlin Clark seems rooted in the fact that, like many so-called woke figures, she's recognized that Clark isn't playing by the usual political playbook. Instead of bending to certain narratives or pushing an agenda, Clark is simply focused on earning her success through talent. And that's something that doesn't sit well with people who expect athletes to follow their scripted roles.
But this, of course, is the Mystics owner that said that Caitlin Clark should give up her Time magazine award and give it to the entire WNBA. Of course, that has now become a running joke, and the mother of all community checks came down here and nailed her. 31% of Mystics' total home attendance for the 2024 season came from the 2 games versus Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Newsflash, Sheila, sports thrive on competition, not on the equality of outcome. Claiming that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve to be singled out is like saying LeBron James should share his accolades with the benchwarmers just because of team effort. That's not how greatness works. Individual brilliance deserves recognition, and Clark has earned every bit of it.
It's important that we say, you know what? You want to go all in? You want to go in, people with a lot of nonsense? Then guess what? We're going to go in too, and we're going to expose the nonsense.
Exactly. A lot of these racist attitudes flourish when there's no pushback or challenge. That's why speaking out isn't just an option, it's a responsibility. If we stay silent, we're allowing these harmful views to persist unchecked. It's crucial to stand up and call out hypocrisy when we see it.
What it is. A lot of times, like you, we just want to let's just play basketball. But then when they start saying nonsense, like when the owner of a WNBA team, Sheila Johnson, Washington Mystics, when she says some of the stuff like she said that people are talking about today, it's like, okay, you want to play hardball? Then let's play.
Absolutely. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player. She's a mythical juggernaut and a cultural icon. She's rewriting the rules of the game, and her numbers prove it. She's not just good, she's the best. And anyone who tries to deny that is ignoring the undeniable facts.